GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, Toronto. Tonight we'll break down Portugal's upcoming World Cup clash with Croatia right here in our city, plus the new optional auto insurance benefits launching in July. Expect heavy traffic around Pride Toronto and the World Cup venues. Over to you, Nathan.
Get on UP, the outdoor pop-up featuring 90s R&B and hip-hop, launches Saturday at Riverdale Park, opening doors at noon, free admission, family-friendly atmosphere.
The event includes local food trucks serving vegan, gluten-free, and classic street fare, plus a pop-up bar offering non-alcoholic mocktails and craft sodas.
Live performances feature 3 Toronto DJs rotating hourly, plus a surprise guest appearance by a 1990s R&B tribute band scheduled for 3 o'clock.
With free entry, vibrant music, and diverse food options, Get On Up promises a lively Saturday afternoon for all ages. Lots to get to, let's begin. Good morning, Toronto.
Portugal's national team will travel to Toronto on July 2nd for a World Cup knockout stage clash with Croatia. The match, set at the city's BMO field, marks the first time the tournament reaches Canada's largest city. Cristiano Ronaldo, who entered the knockout round with 0 goals from the group stage, will lead a side that still qualified despite a goalless campaign. Portugal is hoping to turn that early drought into a deep run and ultimately a title, while Croatia arrives fresh from a strong group performance. Fans can expect a tightly contested encounter as both sides vie for a place in the quarter-finals. Ticket demand has already surged, and the city is gearing up for an influx of international supporters this summer. Local businesses along King West and Queen West are preparing special promotions, and the city's transit authority expects extra service on the subway and streetcars to accommodate the crowds.
Starting in July, Ontario will let drivers drop select coverages that have long been built into every standard auto insurance policy. The province says the shift aims to give motorists more control over premiums by turning formerly mandatory benefits into optional add-ons. Consumers will be able to opt out of things like uninsured motorist protection, comprehensive collision coverage, and certain medical benefits, though basic liability will remain required. Insurers must update their policy forms by the end of June and provide clear explanations of which protections can be removed. The move follows a review of the province's insurance framework that argued some drivers pay for protection they never use. Critics warn that opting out could leave some motorists exposed in a crash, while advocates argue the choice could lower costs for price-sensitive drivers.
Toronto police have intercepted 18 unauthorized drones flying over the city since the opening of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Officials say the unmanned aircraft were detected near major venues and high-traffic corridors, prompting rapid response teams to secure airspace and prevent potential hazards. The operation forms part of a broader security framework deployed across Canadian host cities, where authorities have heightened surveillance to protect spectators and critical infrastructure. Police spokesperson emphasized that each interception required coordination between aviation officers, emergency responders, and intelligence analysts, underscoring the complexity of monitoring a crowded skyline during a global tournament. While the drone activity remains ongoing, officers report that all 18 craft have been safely grounded or redirected, and investigations continue to identify the operators behind the violations. The interceptions have been logged by Aviation Monitoring Unit and assure residents measures aim to keep matches at BMO Field and fan zones safe.
The CN Tower marked its 50th anniversary on Monday, highlighting its special place in Toronto's South Asian community. Organizers gathered families from across the city to share stories of how the soaring landmark became a symbol of new beginnings and the Canadian dream for many recent immigrants. Speakers recalled the tower's opening in 1976 and how its bright lights have greeted newcomers ever since. A cultural showcase featured traditional music, dance and food, turning the observation deck into a vibrant celebration of heritage. City officials noted the structure's role as a lasting beacon of home for generations of families who arrived by sea and air. The event underscored the tower's status not just as a tourist draw, but as a shared point of pride for a thriving Toronto community.
Yesterday, the Toronto Blue Jays shuffled their roster, promoting infielder Sean Keyes to the Major League squad while also recalling outfielder Yohendrick Pinango from Triple-A. Keyes, who had been grinding in the minors, earned the call after a string of solid defensive work and a recent surge in the batting average column. Pinango's return adds depth to the outfield as the club looks to bolster its lineup for the stretch run. The moves came as part of a broader set of adjustments announced by the organization on Wednesday, aiming to give the team more flexibility with both infield and outfield options. Both players are expected to report to the dugout for the upcoming series at home, giving manager John Schneider additional choices in the near term as the Jays chase a playoff spot.
Later we'll dive into the Maple Leafs' big trade to St. Louis, plus a look at today's Pride weather outlook. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back. I'm glad you stayed with us. Let's jump into today's local headlines with Nathan Cole, who's got the stories you need.
Yesterday, the downtown Toronto streets pulsed with color as the 30th annual Pride and Remembrance Run took place. Runners from the LGBTQ+ community and their allies gathered to honor loved ones who have passed while celebrating the vibrant community. The event, held on June 27th, marked 3 decades of combining solemn remembrance with the joy of Pride festivities. Participants wore rainbow-tinted shirts and carried memory ribbons, turning the route into a moving tribute. Organizers said the run offers a space for families to share stories of loss and for everyone to reaffirm support for LGBTQ+ rights. Spectators lined the streets, cheering and holding signs that blended remembrance messages with celebratory slogans. The run, organized by community groups, underscores the city's ongoing commitment to inclusion and visibility for LGBTQ+ residents. For many Torontonians, the gathering reinforced the city's tradition of inclusion, linking personal grief with collective celebration.
Yesterday, the Leafs completed a trade sending defenseman Brandon Carlo, 29, to the St. Louis Blues. In return, Toronto received 2 third-round draft picks. The move is part of a broader effort to reshape the blue line, emphasizing speed and offensive upside. The transaction follows a trade deadline period that fell short of expectations and drew criticism from fans and analysts. General Manager John Chayka explained the decision was about adding future assets while creating room for younger, faster defensemen. For the Blues, acquiring Carlo adds a steady presence on the back end as they look to bolster their roster for the upcoming season. The draft selections will be used in next year's entry draft, giving Toronto additional opportunities to infuse new talent. Season ticket holders will see the change reflected on the ice as the team retools its core. The trade also frees salary space for signings in free agency.
Police officials are outlining how the city will handle transit this weekend as Pride celebrations swell alongside FIFA World Cup matches and other major gatherings. Inspector Trish Johnston briefed reporters, noting that thousands of visitors are expected across the downtown core. The Toronto Police Service is coordinating with the Transit Authority to adjust bus routes, add extra subway trains, and deploy traffic officers at key intersections. Riders can expect more frequent service on the Yonge University line and dedicated lanes for shuttles serving Pride venues. Officers will also monitor pedestrian flow near popular parade routes to keep sidewalks clear. Additional traffic officers will be positioned on main streets near stadiums to guide drivers and transit riders. By syncing police presence with transit changes, the city aims to keep movement smooth for both locals and out-of-town guests enjoying the packed schedule.
On June 26, the Ontario Provincial Police seized a shipment of illicit substances in the Greater Toronto Area, estimating its street value at $4.7 million. The operation led to the arrest of 3 men suspected of moving the narcotics between Ontario and Quebec. Investigators said the haul was part of a cross-provincial trafficking network under surveillance. Police confirmed the suspects face multiple drug-related offenses and the seized material will be processed as evidence. The OPP highlighted coordinated enforcement to disrupt supply chains reaching neighborhoods. The raid took place at a warehouse on the outskirts of the region, and officials said the investigation spanned more than a year. Court appearances are scheduled for the suspects later this month, and authorities indicated the case will move forward through the provincial justice system.
At the NHL entry draft in Buffalo on June 26, the Toronto Maple Leafs used their first overall selection to choose forward Gavin McKenna. The 19-year-old, who posted a standout junior season, now joins a club looking to add speed and scoring depth. McKenna's arrival gives Leafs fans a fresh face to rally around as the team prepares for next season's roster decisions. General Manager Kyle Dubas said the pick reflects a long-term vision focused on youthful talent and competitive balance. The draft, held over 2 days in Buffalo, featured a packed arena and a buzz of anticipation as each team made its choices. Local fans celebrated the pick with cheers echoing through the venue. For Toronto supporters, the moment marked a hopeful turning point, with McKenna expected to contribute quickly and grow alongside the franchise's core players.
Now let's take a quick look at your afternoon forecast with our meteorologist, Alex.
A weakening ridge and a fast western jet are stripping heat, setting up today's clear, mild spell. On this date, Toronto's record high stands at 32.7 degrees, set in 2005 during an intense regional heat wave that pushed many stations into the mid-30s. The record low is 11.6 degrees, recorded in 2022 when an Arctic dip plunged the city into an unusually sharp cold snap for late June. Normal highs for today hover around 22 degrees, with lows near 15, so today's temperature sits comfortably between those historic extremes. The live radar is completely quiet across the Greater Toronto Area, showing no precipitation echoes. A shallow low-pressure center drifting southward keeps the air mass stable, while the powerful western jet streams aloft are steering any moisture far north of the province. With no rain bands in sight, the sky remains clear, and the map stays empty as we move toward the evening. At noon, the temperature reads 22 degrees under a cloudless sky, humidity 69%, and a gentle 6 km/h breeze from the east. Low pressure is falling, allowing the western jet at 87 km/h to dominate the upper flow, which suppresses lift and dries the column of air. This setup explains the persistent sunshine and the lack of any rain development. The UV index registers 8, and winds remain below the 25 km threshold, so no wind advisory is needed. No weather alerts are active. The clear conditions should hold through the afternoon, with temperatures nudging up to 23 degrees by 3 and staying near 22 into the evening. Monday brings a high of 25 degrees and a low of 16, but increasing cloud cover will push the chance of rain to 40% as the low-pressure system deepens. Tuesday spikes to a high of 31 degrees with a low of 20, yet lingering moisture will keep the rain probability at 40% despite mostly clear skies. Wednesday climbs to a scorching high of 34 degrees and a low of 25, offering a dry, sunny stretch. Thursday turns wet again with a high of 33, a low of 24, and a heavy rain risk at 20% as a cold front slides through. Friday settles at a high of 31 and a low of 23, with rain returning at 25%. The week alternates between warm, dry periods and intermittent rain, providing clear cues for planning activities. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic will be around Pride Toronto and the World Cup. The 90s Ranby pop-up is on. Green Shield opens its office. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Downtown commuters face the biggest slowdown. Pride Toronto has closed Queen Street West between University and Bathurst and Spadina Avenue from King to College. Traffic backs up onto College and Dundas, while Gardiner stays open but feeds Bottleneck. Expect delays of at least 15 minutes east or west through Core. Further east, FIFA World Cup corridors restrict access at Exhibition Place and Stadium. Lakeshore Road and southbound Gardiner near Exhibition Loop run at reduced speed. Drivers should add 10 minutes. 401 and Don Valley Parkway move freely, so longer trips can stay on those routes. On transit, TTC rerouted 509 Harborfront streetcar onto Queen and King, and 510 Spadina runs on a modified schedule with a 2-minute headway increase. Bus routes on King and Bathurst use temporary detours. GO Transit runs limited Lakeshore West service, terminating at Union. Afternoon traffic eases on 401 and Don Valley Parkway, but downtown bottlenecks remain.
Toronto Tempo vs Phoenix Mercury Pride Edition at Scotiabank Arena today. A WNBA showdown celebrating Pride with live performances and fan activations. Perfect for a quick sport fix. John Cameron Mitchell's Hedwig 25 Anniversary Movie Tour rolls into the Danforth Music Hall today, delivering a live concert that revives the cult classic's iconic soundtrack for fans old and new. The setlist mixes classic hits with fresh takes, a treat for all. Green Space Festival Treehouse Afterparty kicks off at the Opera House tonight, an electronic indie mashup that keeps the festival vibe alive after dark for anyone looking to dance the night away. Surprise guest DJs and a forest-inspired visual backdrop keep the energy high. Meanwhile, the Toronto Pride Parade continues to pulse through Church Wellesley Village, a vibrant street celebration that lights up the city with music, color, and pride. Grab a rainbow flag and join the crowds for free. The energy is contagious. And now here's Marcus with sports.
Kickoff time for Toronto's sports headlines, from soccer showdown to baseball concerns. Portugal's goalless draw with Colombia sealed the Group K title, and the Portuguese side now travels to Toronto for a round of 32 knockout clash against Croatia. The match is slated for the city's stadium later this week, promising a high-stakes encounter. Blue Jays left-hander Dylan Cease delivered a challenging performance against the Texas Rangers, allowing runs that deepened concerns about Toronto's starting rotation. Analysts note the outing follows a string of recent struggles for the staff, raising questions about consistency heading into the next series. The World Cup's round of 32 will feature Portugal taking on Croatia in Toronto, marking the city's first knockout stage game of the tournament. Both sides arrive after navigating group play, setting the stage for a tightly contested European duel on Canadian soil.
Green Shield in downtown Toronto just opened its new headquarters, a sleek 12-story space on King Street that now houses 700 staff members. As Canada's only national nonprofit healthcare and insurance organization, Green Shield provides affordable coverage and wellness programs to millions, and this downtown hub puts those services right in the heart of the city. The office brings together teams from underwriting, claims, and community outreach, creating a vibrant workplace that will also host free health screening clinics for local residents. For a neighborhood that thrives on diversity and accessibility, Green Shield's presence means more jobs, stronger health resources, and a reminder that caring for people is a shared responsibility. It's a milestone that feels like a win for every Toronto family. Coming up, we celebrate the CN Tower's 50 years as a cultural beacon for the South Asian community. Stay tuned for that story.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From City Hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMna for the local Sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
Toronto's flagship Canada Day fireworks, a 14-minute spectacular, will blaze over Ashbridges Bay Park, drawing thousands of families to the waterfront at 1561 Lakeshore Boulevard East in East York. The city expects a record-crowded night as the sky lights up over the lake. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks, Jordan Parker. I'm standing on the wooden boardwalk of Ashbridges Bay Park, the lake shimmering under a late summer sunset. The scent of grilled corn and fresh-cut grass mixes with a low hum of families setting up blankets and portable chairs. Strings of fairy lights twinkle above the food trucks, and a stage near the water is already pulsing with a local indie band, their guitars echoing across the water. The sky darkens as the clock ticks toward 10 p.m., and the crowd of thousands, kids with sparklers, seniors with picnic baskets, holds its breath. When the first burst erupts, a cascade of red, white, and blue fireworks explodes over the water, painting reflections that dance on the lake's surface for a 14-minute blaze. It's more than a display. It's a shared moment of pride that stitches together neighborhoods across the city. Kids chase after popcorn kernels while the lake's gentle waves lap against the pier, and the scent of maple syrup treats drifts through the air. Carl Dumont, virtually at Ashbridges Bay Park.
At the base of the CN Tower, just as the morning rush eases, a small group gathers on the concrete patio. CBC crew members, a veteran tower engineer named Lewis and his curious teenage niece Maya, lead a rare behind-the-scenes tour that most Torontonians never see. As the elevator hums upward, the metal walls close around them, revealing the hidden service shafts where maintenance crews navigate narrow ladders to keep the iconic spire shining. Lewis points to a rust-stained control panel, explaining how a single switch can guide the tower's massive revolving restaurant. Maya pauses at a window overlooking the city's skyline, her face lit by the sunrise spilling over Lake Ontario, and whispers, "It's like the whole city is breathing." The group shares a quiet moment, feeling the pulse of the structure that defines Toronto's horizon. When the tour ends on a seldom-used observation deck, the crew steps out onto the glass floor, and the city spreads out below like a living map. It's a reminder that even the most familiar landmarks hold hidden stories worth discovering.
At Scotiabank Arena on Saturday afternoon, the Toronto Tempo are stepping onto the hardwood for their inaugural Pride-themed game against the Phoenix Mercury. The arena is awash in rainbow banners, the scent of popcorn mingling with the faint perfume of fresh roses from a nearby flower stand. Just a few blocks away, the Dyke March is beginning its procession through Church Wellesley, drums thudding in rhythm with the crowd's cheers. Fans in glittering shirts line the court, while a group of marchers in bright scarves pause at the arena's entrance, waving flags that match the team's jerseys. A teenage player, her nail polish a spectrum of colors, pauses to wave at a young child holding a handmade sign that reads "Play Proud." The simultaneous celebration creates a spontaneous bridge. Spectators spill out onto the streets, sharing high fives with march participants, and the arena's lights reflect the rainbow stream of flags passing by. The moment captures why sport and activism feel natural together, a reminder that community thrives when we celebrate each other's victories. It's a reminder that Toronto's pride is strongest when we play together.
Thanks, Toronto, for tuning in to the lunch break. Tonight's look at the CN Tower's 50-year milestone as a cultural beacon reminded us how our city shines. I appreciate your time, and I'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to you. See you then.